All right, here we are, episode 2 of Overly Opinionated. And today we have sexual freedom versus celibacy. What we got, Luce?
All right. Before we do that, I want everybody to just recap who you are, give your name real quick. Later on down the line in the podcast, we won't have to do this, but people that have never seen us before, my name is Lucy.
My name is James.
I'm Joey. D-Man.
Okay.
Session.
Oh, you know what? That's session.
You just leave out.
I needed you to be here, sitting right there. Yeah, so we decided to get together and do a podcast, kind of in the same room, connect with each other and feel the vibes and just have this conversation with everybody in the same room. Unfortunately, our sesh baby could not make it. So she's back at home, but she's still with us, and we are representing Selena. Como la flor.
They're not real words.
It is a word. It's a word. It's our girl.
Our girl.
Our girl.
On this episode, we wanted to talk about celibacy versus sexual freedom. And with that being said, we want to talk about, like, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to have sex? Do you prefer to wait, make other people wait? Do you like the freedom of having sex when you want? Do you want to do it until your heart is content? How does that feel? And do you judge other people that exercise their sexual freedom? So I will start and give my opinion. Man, what do I prefer? I've always been single. I've been single for like a long time. I just got a boyfriend last year. So I'm used to being able to do what I want to do. So I don't have to answer to anybody, nobody tells me, well, you know how you be talking to somebody and they ain't your man, but they be acting like they your man and they be telling you, you can't do this and that, and all they feelings hurt when you, but again, I'm single. I can do what I want. So I don't like the idea of being, I didn't like the idea of being like trapped or held down until I found somebody like worth it, I guess.
So wait, Paula, let me ask you a question. And I think this is with the new modern Western woman. Why is it that a relationship where you're not just free to do whatever, however, whenever, do y'all feel like kind of like locked down? Like, I never noticed where being in a relationship made people feel like a prisoner.
No, if it's a good relationship, but at the same time, like if you are in a relationship, you know that you're not going to go and sleep with a whole bunch of other people because you're committed to one person, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, I've never been committed to one man. It hadn't been a title on it. That's my thing.
Okay.
There wasn't a title on it. It was situationships and not relationships. So I had the freedom to be with one person, but then I got the freedom to be with somebody else next week. And I ain't saying that I'm just sleeping with the world, but it's just the idea of having the freedom to move how you want to move. Once you get in a relationship and you've committed yourself to that one person, no cheating, you're not moving that way. So celibacy, what is celibacy to y'all?
You don't want my version.
I do.
Celibacy to me is what I call refurbished coochie. It is where you have something that is used already and you're going to dress it up in a bow and you're going to wipe it down. You're going to put a new coat of paint on it and you're going to try to sell it for brand new, even though it's used. And that's technically what celibacy is. I'm all down for if you meet somebody and they're a virgin and they never had sex before and they're saving, that makes sense. But if you've been out here fucking since you was 12 and now you 40 and now you out here like, hey, you know what? I'm tired of having sex. So now when I meet guys, I'm not going to have sex with them. First of all, as men, I'm going to look at the dudes that you dealt with. If you was having sex with lesser men than me for nothing, you not finna have me pay full price for something that the bum down the street got on discount. Just not going to happen. So that's how I look at celibacy. Is it's a choice that people make, but it's a choice that involves other people. And people always use celibacy when they're like going through like a breakup or something. What I'm saying, but to be honest, it's more stuff about yourself that you can fix instead of just I ain't having sex no more.
All right.
Man. Well, for me, I mean, the way I look at it is it's choice. People, I know it's gonna sound corny compared to what you guys are saying, but it's really people get to practice their choice. If you feel like you don't want to have sex and you want to wait, okay, do it. It's if at the end of the day, if you're going to feel some kind of way because you had sex instead of waiting and holding out, you might as well go ahead and wait then. Because if you don't wait and you feel some type of way because you had it, then that's going to impact the relationship that you're in, right? So now the thing is, you just got to be upfront with the people you're talking to. If you want to wait and you plan on waiting until a year, or you plan on waiting until you get married, you got to tell these people when you're having these discussions. I think the biggest issue is that people don't like to talk about sex when they start when they get into these relationships. Everybody, we'll talk about everything else. We'll talk about finance. We'll talk about communication. We'll talk about family and all the rest of that. When it's time to talk about sex, which everyone does in every relationship, I can't stand it when people try to act like sex is not important when it is, because the top 3 reasons for divorce: finance, communication, and sex.
Yep.
So why we don't talk about sex? Why everybody get all, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I gotta wait. Are you gonna think some kind of way about me? But
Women don't.
hey, listen, okay, you're an exception. But a lot of people ain't trying to do that because they think that it's gonna make them look some kind of way. Like most women I talk to will tell me, well, the reason I don't want to talk about it, or I didn't want to talk about it, is because if a woman talks about it too early, whatever, then men are gonna judge them and think they're fast or quick or whatever. I'm like, okay, so you're dealing with boys.
All right.
I'm not a boy.
Session, are you okay with talking about it up front?
I'm okay with talking about it up front. I think the issue is people use celibacy for different advantages.
Right.
And I think people don't truly understand the definition of celibacy. Like, there's celibacy for religious reasons. And then I think some people are just like, I'm going to make him wait 90 days. That's not celibacy. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just you holding out. And if that's just a rule that you have, then say, a rule that I have is I don't have sex with somebody for after 90 days. Mm-hmm. That's your rule. So I think when it comes to celibacy, I think some people view it as like a game, and it's not a game. Like, so for me, like B-Man said, it's a conversation that needs to be had. Like, we talk about everything else, but we don't talk about sex, especially if it's in a relationship. My personal opinion, if I'm in a committed relationship with someone, yes, I want to have sex with that person whenever I can. If I'm not in a committed relation with someone, I'm not going to just go around sleeping with every Tom, Dick, and Harry. That's just not me. I'm not programmed that way. But I think when it comes to celibacy, like even James said, like, you break up with somebody and it's like, girl, I'm not dating, I'm not having sex until I work on me. And then the next day, 3 months later, you're done working on you. So I think celibacy is a word that gets thrown around way too many times, and we don't really understand what it actually means. And celibacy basically means abstaining from, for some people, it's abstaining from marriage and sex. For some people, it's abstaining from sex until marriage. But I think some people say, I'm just abstaining from celibacy for 90 days. That's not celibacy. That's because celibacy, that's you just like, oh, I'm not eating meat for 40 days and 40 nights. That's Lent. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm just like, people need to truly understand what celibacy is before you start saying I'm celibate. Because sometimes you can talk to one person who is truly saving themselves until marriage, and your definition of celibacy is 3 months, and their definition of celibacy is until the wedding night. And now totally different situation, because why? You didn't talk about sex, and you also had two totally different definitions of celibacy. So I think it all goes back to communication and understanding what the definition of celibacy means, because it gets thrown around constantly. Like, if you're just saying I'm not having sex until I'm not having sex because I feel like every time I have sex it doesn't work out for me, okay, then just say that. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
If I show y'all a dating app with my profile and I just scroll through all the women, if I tell you 85% of the profiles start with I'm celibate. Now you were meeting women with 6, 7 children, a 10-month-old. So when did you get celibate? Like yesterday? But that's because the word has become popularized and people don't really know what words mean. Words don't mean what they used to mean. Nowadays, we just create our own meaning. So celibacy had an actual meaning, but now people have turned into, well, this is my meaning of it. I'm not doing it until. But also, I feel like if you're choosing to be celibate, fine. But be fine with the outcome of that, is that you're not going to find a lot of guys. And stop trying to make men feel bad because they don't want to go on your celibate journey with you. That was a choice you made on your own, with your own body, which is fine. But then don't browbeat us and try to make us feel bad because we don't want to go on your celibate journey with you. And make
even on the flip side, because I'm sorry, but even on the flip side, you find men, nowadays that are on this celibacy journey. And you have women who, it's really sad, who think it's comical when they run up on a man, when they meet a man who says, I'm practicing celibacy, even though, yes, like you said, he may have 2 kids, but he's on a spiritual journey or a journey trying to redefine who he is and what he wants as a man. Because maybe 10, 15 years ago, that man maybe Papa was a Rolling Stone, and maybe that's not the man he wants to be anymore. But you find women who think it's comical, who like, I'm not going to sit around and wait on no man who don't want to have sex. So like you said, it works both ways. But to your comment, yes, like, man or women can't get upset if you find a man or a woman who doesn't want to stick around and wait for you to work to go through your celibacy journey.
Yeah. So like James was saying, it's play on words and we're using words incorrectly. Celibacy, like you had alluded to earlier session, is that it's usually until marriage or you're just not going to have sex. The word is abstinence, not celibacy, right? So that's different. You can say, I'm going to be abstinence for 3 months. I'm going to be abstinence until 6 months, abstinence for a year, but that's not celibacy. So and kind of like what James was saying earlier, the words, it's because we're in this culture now where everybody has their truth, but there isn't their truth. There's a truth, not multiple truths. We can't function as a society if we have multiple truisms. So that's the problem.
With that being said, let me pose a question. If you hear someone say they're being celibate, are you gonna think that's a chick or a guy?
Wait, what?
If you hear someone say they're being celibate, you think it's a chick more likely saying it or a guy?
Oh, a chick.
Okay, so with respect to that, 9 times out of 10, if you hear someone talking about celibacy, it's a woman. In my experience, I hear a lot of women claim that they're being celibate until they get married, but that switches the minute they find someone that they actually want to get freaky with. So to me, I think that's often just used as a way to not allow dudes that they don't want to deal with or want to manipulate, versus actually being something they stand by. I'm not saying it's all women, but I've definitely seen someone say, oh, I'm celibate, and then the next thing you know, she get knocked off by, another dude. So I think, as you guys have hit it on the head, people they misuse the term, or they have changed the meaning of the term to mean something else. And I think they use that to justify whatever BS they want to be on. And it's not just celibacy. We can talk about this in terms of a bunch of other stuff out there. But 9 times out of 10, when we hear someone, at least as me as a guy, if I hear someone saying, okay, they're celibate, in my head, I'm instantly thinking it's BS.
I agree with that because, like I say, if I just showed y'all, and me and my friend was talking about this the other day, like he pulled up his, I think it was Facebook dating, and I pulled up, I think it was Stir, single parents, and we both went through, and we were scrolling, and if I tell you, we went through 15 profiles, 12 of them started off with "I'm celibate."
Well, I'm sorry. Oh, that's a little bit amazing to me because I'm the oldest one in this group, and I'm telling you, when I go through mine, that is never the word. Like seriously, I'm not ever coming across women saying I'm practicing celibacy.
What age
As
are you
though-
looking at?
I mean, 45 to
So yeah,
See, we're still in our 30s.
yeah, that's what I'm
that-
saying. It's like
That is like the hot color term to use in the
Yeah.
profile. I'm celibate. I'm not looking to have sex. So if you're
Yeah.
looking for that, swipe right.
so yeah,
No,
it's
that's
not
what I was
celibate. They don't. It's a
That's what I was
form
saying.
of it. I'm not looking to have sex. That's not something that like, but it's a form of you ain't getting no coochie.
I think, but see, when I read that, what I think the women are really trying to say a lot of times, because let's be honest, right? A lot of dudes get on these sites, and be honest, a lot of dudes ain't trying to get in a relationship. They just want to smash, right? But they'll act like they want to be in a relationship. So what the women are trying to do in their profile is to cut that off, but it don't work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
That's what I
tell
was
women,
about to say.
you're wasting your time because the dude's trying to get at you that way. He gonna fake what he needs to fake to do.
Yep.
So you got to work that out when you're talking to him. You
Yep.
can't do it on your profile because when I see that on the profile, I'm swiping left because it's negative
Yeah.
stuff. That negative energy just turns me off. So tell me about you, not what you don't want.
Yeah.
You know, so
Well, I mean, in that scenario, most of the time, and again, I have 3 daughters and 3 sisters, and most of the time, they will tell me what they don't want. But when you ask them what they want, they have no idea.
exactly.
Because a lot of times people have to go through horrible things in order to
Right.
experience what they don't want. See, when you have not seen, I mean, some of us Black people have not always seen the best homes. We have not always seen the perfect marriages. We have not always seen a woman being treated absolutely right and loved and adored. We haven't seen that. So we don't even know that that's something we can have. We don't know that's what we want. So I think it's kind of us saying what we don't want because we don't know the good that we can have. That's just what I wanted to give
But
you.
I mean, I could ask my daughter, "Hey, Lily, what we eat tonight?" And she gonna say, "Well, I don't want Burger King." Okay, so what do you want? Well, it don't matter. Okay, so we're gonna get McDonald's.
No.
I don't want McDonald's. So then
No
what do
one
you
knows
want?
what they want to eat. We're talking
But I'm
about
saying,
when it comes to like
what you want for your birthday, Lily? Well, I don't want the party you gave me last year. Okay, so what do you want? Well, I don't want them shoes, but what do you want?
I'm gonna
Because
push
you're forcing
back
them to
to-
make a decision.
I'm
They
gonna
don't
push
wanna make
back
a
to
decision.
Lucy's statement real quick. Okay, do you have to see something to know you want it? Like, do you have to see $1 million to know you want $1 million?
$1 million,
do you-
no.
Do you have to see a good relationship to know you want a good relationship?
Wait. So just to say a good relationship, yeah, I know I want a good relationship. But like, okay, so matter of fact, my dad, he's older, he's like in his 70s, and he has a wife, and he's been married to her a long time. Long time. When the collars was like out there, okay, and their afros and the juicy jerrys, okay. They've been together a long time. And you know the juicy jerry?
Look at D-Man. D-Man felt like he was thinking, I'm like, that's around what
I would just like to say I like when she called it a juicy Jerry. That's a new term.
Yeah, Lucy always got a term that she throw in there that I always pick out and be like, I'm using that.
I think I messed up a couple of sofas.
You probably did. Collar your shirt stays black and green. Collar your jacket was black and greasy. I know.
Yeah,
So your
go
daddy.
ahead.
Yes. So my dad, his wife has, I don't know if it's dementia or Alzheimer's, but she is not fully functioning in the brain capacity. That's what's happening. And knowing my dad and knowing the way he lived his life, being 100% transparent, I am the product of an affair. That's how I got here. And so I know how my daddy used to move. But like when I went to my dad's house to visit and I saw him, you know, the way he treated her, waited on her hand and foot, fixed her plate, fed her, even though she might not be able to communicate back with him, he talks to her like, do you want this? Do you need this? Can I get you to, do you want to go outside? Like those types of things. And I watched the way she was treated in this state. And I was like, I would want that.
But you gotta.
But I hadn't seen that like that before. I hadn't seen that kind of love before.
But you gotta know the work she put in before she got to that
It don't,
state.
that what I saw. And we always say through sickness and health, they'll do part, woo.
Most people,
but you don't until you see it, like you just don't, you know. And I felt so like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Every man isn't like that. If something happens to their wife or something like that, they may put it in a nursing home, leave, you know what I'm saying? But my daddy chose to be there and chose to take care of her. And I mean, take care of her, everything, the babe, all of that. You do all of that. And I was just like, that's love. And I didn't see that in my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, not like that. That was different. And it really spoke to me. It made me a little, you know, emotional.
Yeah, I seen your lip shaking a couple times.
It was beautiful. So in some instances, I think it takes seeing, not in all, but some instances, I think it takes seeing in order to know that that's something you want. Or
so wait,
go ahead.
Let me pose a question while we on the celibacy topic. Okay, so as of what I was saying a minute ago, the taking a old car that's being used and slapping a higher price on it than what it was when you first got it, how logical is that? And what I mean by that is, how productive is it in trying to find what you want to say, okay, I have this car that I was out here letting cats drive for $20 for 13 years. Now I'm 40. I feel like my mind a little better, and I learned a lot from the 13 years of having this car driven for 20 years. So now this car got the same wear and tear, same mileage, same everything. I can't go back and change none of that. But now, after 13 years of letting this car being run through the mud, let me take this $20 sticker off of it and put $20,000 on it. And I expect every person that comes in that wants to look at this car and to see this $20,000 and say, hey, that's a fine price because you feel like so it goes above the consumer. So you no longer concerned with the consumer. You're worried about, that's like Oreo making cookies and they cookies not getting bought off the shelf and they say it must be something wrong with them consumers. It's not the product, it's not the pricing or nothing, it's the consumer. So do we feel like it's logical? Because I can get it if you're going through a religious journey and you just got on that, makes sense. I'm gonna back off of that because who can tell somebody what point in their life that they found God or they found a journey? You may be 50 before you find it. That's fine. But to be honest, most of those women that I meet, they're not on a religious journey. So how logical is it to, again, refurbish your sex that you've been out here giving, men or women, you've been out here giving away, and now because you feel like I've gained more knowledge and I'm older and blah, 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 so I'm gonna slap a new tag on it that's worth more than what it was when it was actually worth its most.
So wait. I hear what you're saying, bro, but how do we sit here and tell people how to define their value or their self-worth?
So wait,
what I said.
Now, wait. Because why? Is because how many of y'all date yourself? None of them. So when we have this self-worth, when I tell people there's a worth of yourself, that has nothing to do with what it is out here in the dating world. You don't date yourself. So what you feel like yourself, if you work at a job and you feel like you're the best receptionist at that job, and you've been there 20 years, but they keep putting people over you, then what you feel about yourself doesn't matter because the people that matter to aren't seeing you like that.
Yeah,
so,
but I'm not gonna let someone on the outside define my value. So
that car value depreciated. Does the vagina value depreciate?
it
Just
does.
because-
You're not gonna sell it to me.
Let's do it this way. So, at what point is someone's self-value
Mhm.
detrimental to the other person looking in? What I mean by that is it possible that your views of yourself can price you out of opportunities? Can you set the standards or the value of yourself so high that nobody actually can qualify? Basically, you put yourself in your own jail.
So I get where you guys are going, but it almost sounds to me like women are out there saying, okay, almost like this is my P value, and I'm putting out there who's down for this price. Like I'm not getting on sites and trying to date women and like going, okay, how many men have you fucked? Like I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. I don't do the body count stuff because
I'm not doing.
Yeah, we don't do the body count. Yeah, I know he's doing.
I'm not. Well, I guess what I was trying to say is like, okay, there's times when we sit here and we make a bunch of preferences, and we don't really realize how much we're blocking ourselves in, and you wonder why. Okay, why is it I can't find someone? This goes beyond, sexual.
Thank you. Now
We're talking about in general here with this, but that also sexual value plays a part in it. You can sit there and say, okay, I only want a chick that make 150,000. She's this weight. She got this education. Come from this family. How many people are actually going to fit that in the dating pool? It's not a lot.
And how many of those people do you qualify for? Which is a real thing.
That's fair. But the thing is, you can sit there and say, okay, all of this is so high and not be realistic with what life is. There's people I've seen on videos all the time, and they'll sit there, oh yeah, the average person makes 100,000. No, they don't. Not nowhere near it. But their viewpoint is that's what the average person is making. So when they set these standards so high, nobody actually can qualify because they're not realistic to what's in the world or what's around them.
So I was doing a study many years ago when I was working on my first master's, and it was something about. So I was doing something that had something to do with family, and the book was about Black family. I had to throw that in there.
Just so y'all know, Steve man got his second master's, and not the one.
So, anyways, I forgot what the paper was about, but I had to read this book. It was called Black Family, and in it talked about statistics of women in general, but it was about black family. But it said that women do not like to date underneath their socioeconomic status. So yeah, and so if they achieve a certain level, they don't want to date down. So to me, I'm seeing this is part of that. Yes. Like a lot of these women, they get to a certain stature, a certain place, and they're like, I got to date men. But the problem is just like you said, the higher they go up, the less men are available to them.
Oprah has priced herself out. Oprah has literally priced herself out the game. And a lot of the rich actors, whether we want to believe it or not, you price yourself out the game because the 85% of men earn $65,000 or under. So when you're a woman that make $1 million a year, that's about 0.01% of men. And most of those 0.01% of men are not looking for 45-year-old women because you had to work to get to that $1 million a year. So you're probably 45 years old. They probably 45 too, but they have the option to go back and date 25-year-olds and 35-year-olds. As a woman, you're not going to do that because you're not biologically wired to date down. A woman is biologically wired as a hypergamous to date on her social economic level or above.
Not even just that, but if you're a woman and you trying to, like, if you're in your 40s, you're trying to date a guy in his 20s, what can he really do? What experience does he have to actually validate being with you? Like, he can't really do much for you.
And your colleagues are gonna call you on that. Like,
and there's probably, you might run into a few that like a 25 years old, maybe a multi-millionaire or something that has done some things with his life, but 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. So even as a woman, if you're dating down, you have way more to offer that man than he has to offer you. And if you're going to look at dating, it's an exchange of some sort. So you as a woman have to value to certain degrees, what can this man offer me to validate me giving access to my womb, the love that I have, whatever other resources and things that you want to exchange for that. That's something that I don't think gets talked about as much. Yeah, we go to the finances part and we look at the age part from guys, but from women, they're not incentivized to actually go date some of these younger dudes because at 25 years old, what life experience do you have?
How can you can't leave nothing. You can't.
How can you pay? How can you afford this woman? So it don't benefit a woman anyway as she gets older to go date down. As a guy, you're expected to do all of the burden of the heavy lifting and stuff. So maybe for you, you can go and pull that woman up, but it's not gonna work the other way. It's like, okay, you can see a king make a woman a queen, but you can't see a queen make a man a king.
Yeah, women are not biologically designed to.
Ooh, y'all said a lot.
To finance a guy. So when you even in those scenarios where you'll find the women that have the guy that's lower than them, it develops a level of contempt at some point in time. Because as a guy, I can do this for 30 years and take care of you and build you up because I'm designed and wired that way. As a woman, after about 5 years, I'm getting on your nerves.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not wired to take care of me like that. You're at some point in time, you're expecting me. If a woman is dealing with a guy lower, she's expecting at some point in time for him to move up. So after 5 years, if he's still here, she is upset. There's probably a lot of disrespect, and that relationship is going to go nowhere because the base foundation of how it's supposed to go has been flipped. And he's out of his place as a man because technically in that relationship, he's the woman. And technically in their relationship, she's the man. And those relationships like that never work because both roles have now been switched.
Okay. So have y'all at any point in your life abstained from sex?
Yes.
What was the reason?
One, I was in Korea and I just didn't want to do that. I was in the military. So
that third world coochie.
Good reason.
No.
Never?
Absolutely not.
D-man.
Short amount of time.
Session.
Yes.
Was it on purpose? Wait. That's
I was about to say I was forced to.
Okay. Because a lot of people like our session was yours. You made a decision not to do it, or you just wasn't nobody that you was dealing with at the time.
I am a rape survivor.
Oh, okay.
So that was just something that after I went on this moment where I was like, I'm damaged good. I had this moment, got therapy, and then I was just like, this is something that I mentally and emotionally, I'm not ready to do. So I kind of no until in my mind, I knew it was something that I could handle again.
High five for the therapy.
Hey.
Okay, I have a question. James, you said, why do I always lose my train of thought? You said that on the dating app, when you scroll, people started off with, I'm celibate.
Started and ended.
Okay.
They wanted to remind you from the start to finish.
Okay. And you, like, say, for example, you got on a dating app session and you stated that because you're trying to communicate it. What if the person on the dating app that said it has a reason like that where we understand it? I know she ain't gonna put on there, I'm celibate and this is the reason why. I guess I just feel this way. If you're on a dating app and you are celibate and that's something that you want to say, I feel like you need to be open to explaining why to the man if y'all have swiped right on each other and you've matched. Like, you ain't gonna give your reason on the app.
Correct.
You might say that I am and then have that open dialogue about it. Yeah. But James is saying they've scrolled, but he's not even going to talk to them to even find out why, because he feels a way about people that say I'm celibate. So he would never know.
I think what the issue is, and it's probably the way the women are stating it. Like if their opening thing is I'm celibate, I would be like, what the heck? But if they say I'm on a celibacy journey, like if you end it with journey, not saying James he may or may not swipe left, but he may be intrigued to know, because you ended it with journey, what has brought you to this journey. James may at that point may be like, well, she's pretty, she kind of has what I'm looking for. Maybe I'm curious to know what has brought her on this journey. Now, I could be wrong. James still may be like, hell no, I'm still gonna swipe left. But she may just still be like, he may still be like, well, she's still cute, I'm still kind of interested. There's things that I like about her. It may be a cool friendship, but if you start off with, I'm celibate, I ain't having sex, blah, 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 blah. I like outdoors, long walks on the beach. I'm celibate, not having sex. That's literally like basically saying, don't think you come in here to get some because you're not. Like, so I think it's possibly the way women are possibly stating this. If all you're saying is I'm celibate, ! But I like to go out and party and drink and I like the nightlife, and it's like,
Yeah.
you celibate, but you like to go to the club.
That's it.
Let me ask you a question, Kendra. From being a rape survivor, because most of the people in my family are women, and I'm not the insensitive jerk that people assume I am. So what I've learned is women that have survived some kind of sexual trauma or something, they're never going to put that. That's something they'll have that conversation with the guy once you meet him and you're talking to him, but they're not just putting on their profile, I'm celibate, I ain't having no sex, because it's a sensitive topic that they're not willing to share this with just anybody who scrolls.
Exactly.
They need to put their profiles a little bit different.
If you went through something like that, you can put a regular profile. Then when I talk to you, because as a guy, I'm gonna be honest, and I don't know if most men do this, I don't know if y'all do it. Sexual trauma is all over the place in the Black community. So I'm gonna be honest with you. 7 out of 10 Black women have been through some form of abuse, assault, rape, something. It's sad, but it's a true thing. So I ask, if you have a certain attitude, and I've dealt with enough women, I have enough women in my family that if there's a certain way about you, I can tell. And one of my first questions is, once I'm getting to know you, and it's a touchy subject depending on the person, because if they haven't worked on themselves at all, you're going to get an aggressive answer. But if they did some kind of work on themselves, I ask them, so have you ever been through anything? What do you mean? Have you ever been abused, raped? Because that's an important thing, because once I know that, I'll now know how to handle you. I'm not going to handle you just like some person that's just out here saying and doing stuff, because I know there's a reason behind why. So then I know to move a different way with you. It's not coddle you and treat you like a child. It's an understanding of this person went through something that probably traumatized them. So therefore, I'm not going to treat them, I'm not going to handle them the same way I'd handle a person that hasn't. But I ask those questions because, again, I'm telling you, 7 out of 10 women, if you ask these questions, I ask other men, like, do y'all ever ask these women? Well, she had an attitude. Well, did you ever ask her, like, and I know some men, you run into so many women with an attitude, you don't want to waste that time. But I ask because I'm always curious. Have you ever been through anything? Have you ever been raped? Have you ever been assaulted? Have you ever been in an abusive relationship? And you will be surprised. 6 to 7 out of 10 of them will say yes. 6 to 7 out of 10 of them will say all 3. Yes, I've been molested, I was raped. And it's sad, but this is a real thing.
Yeah. So for me, the problem that I have, I don't mind seeing a woman post, I'm practicing celibacy, like they don't have to say journey. For me, it's about the energy. So if you got a long list on your site of things you don't want, it just comes off negative. And so that's why I would be bothered by it. It's like, oh my gosh, it's like, she's already pointing to drama right there. It's like, so if she talked about, because the whole point of her profile is supposed to be telling me about who you are.
And you're not just your sex.
Not just what you don't want. So tell me who you are. And if in the middle of that you go, oh, and by the way, at this moment I am practicing, okay.
Because when your whole profile is
like, okay, I get it.
Just I'm not having sex, then when you talk to a guy and you're like, well, there's more to me than sex, then I'm like, is there? Your literal whole profile where you're supposed to be describing yourself was just about sex. But now you're telling me, well, there's more to me than sex. Is it?
Sessions, can I ask you a question?
Uh-huh.
So, and if it's too touchy, you can say I don't want to answer that. Would you say that as a survivor of that, you probably wouldn't, if you were still dealing with those things, you probably wouldn't be on social media or something dating actively, like having a dating profile, trying to find somebody. You'd probably be spending more time, I guess, working on, fixing that thing.
It would probably be like a yes and no, because I will tell you this, so it was a year that passed by before I finally like told anybody. I deeply regret not telling anybody. Like, I had a roommate who was asleep in the room next door when it actually took place. So I went through a year of like it didn't happen. Primarily because, you always heard that story. I was that person like, well, why would she invite somebody to her house at that time of night? Like, you asked for it. Like, that I was that person that made that comment. And then when I became that person, that's all that played in my head. But a rape is a rape is a rape. It is what it is, whether you are male or female. So I was in denial for a year. And I didn't realize how much trauma was inside of me until one of like my best guy friends, he was like, I was in love with you. He said, Kendra, I really thought you were the one for me. He said, but you just treated me like I didn't mean anything. And I was kind of like, no, I didn't. He was like, I would take you out on dates. He was like, and I just could not figure out, like, you were like, bye. Like, but I couldn't emotionally get attached because I felt like I was damaged goods. So once I sought therapy for that, it made it a little easier to kind of put myself out there. I mean, even 20 years later, there's still a sense of hesitation to kind of open myself out there. But I will say that probably had I not gotten therapy, no, I probably would not even attempt to be like on a dating website, because it would just always be that sense of fear that if I meet with that person, are they going to think just because I'm meeting with them that I'm going to automatically want to sleep with them? Are they going to stop? You know what I'm saying? Like, just still like those rape victim thoughts going through my head. So I definitely wouldn't be out there on dating websites. But that's just me. Because some people who may have had sexual trauma are out there. But I know for myself, just because of what I went through, I probably would not, because just of the thoughts that would, and I'm not going to call them demons. I'm just going to say just probably because of the thoughts that would be going through my head, me just saying that. Just because I know that every time I try to date somebody before therapy, in my mind, it was no man's going to love me because I'm damaged goods. That was my mind frame. Or he's going to look at me and probably want to rape me. So had I not got therapy, and if I was on a dating site, that would probably take me back. I would still be in that mind frame. So I probably would not be on a dating website now. Okay. So thank God for therapy.
God,
I will say that much.
Yes, thank you for that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So, and I will say this, everything that I've been through, like I share my story. I am not afraid to talk about it. Like I feel like this, even though it happened to me, everything happens for a reason. Like, I feel like, God gave me that battle to be able to survive it and tell my story to the next girl, to the next man, woman, child, whatever. So I'm not afraid to ever share my story.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yes, definitely.
Now it's hard for me to go to the sexual freedom part after that whole heartwarming.
No, you're fine.
I was like, okay, I wanted to take it to sexual freedom. Now I kind of,
yeah, I'm like, I don't want to talk about me.
No, we're good. We're totally fine.
but if we move on to sexual freedom, we have about
14.
I guess
James is like, this is my Super Bowl. I'm ready.
on sexual freedom. And James, you want to take it? You want to start?
Yes.
Since you're on the side of the group.
Yes. So I have practiced sexual freedom since I was 13 years old. I treat it like people treat celibacy. I let people know when I date them, I'm a very sexual person, and that runs just the way celibacy runs some men off. Telling somebody you're a sexual person and that's important to you runs some women off. And I don't mind that, because if that bothers you, then I'm not the person for you.
Right.
And I don't mind saying it up front. You know, when I'm talking about, that's not something I'm sticking on a profile. Hey, I do like to fuck a lot. I'm not putting that on a profile. But once we talk and we connect, and I see like, okay, I like this person's mind frame, I like their character, then I'm gonna let you know, because I'm trying to trim the fat. So therefore, if you're celibate, me and you gonna bump heads, and that's not gonna work, and I'm not gonna waste my time with that. That's just me. I don't speak for other guys. And it sounds horrible, but no matter what reason you give me for celibacy, I'm just not interested in. And that's just me, because I know I'm not gonna be happy in that situation. And it's not gonna work for me. It has nothing to do with your journey. It's just me. That's like, I'm oil and you water. We're never gonna mix. So been sexually free since I was 13 years old as a guy. I do feel like sexual freedom for women comes with a price. And it's one of those double standards that we don't like, but it's a real thing. It does come with a price. Promiscuity for women comes with a price. That doesn't come with the same price for a guy, because as a guy, if I could sleep with a lot of 8s, all the 8s now see me as a quality guy, because if a guy sees you sleeping with a lot of 8s, he's gonna assume you a hoe and he ain't gonna fuck with you. Not seriously. So it's one of those double standards. It sucks because it doesn't benefit you. But my hoism is, when women, and I'm telling you this from being in closed groups of people, I've listened to people that will talk down, oh, James be doing, he be fucking and he be, but these same people still want to deal with me, because as a man, there's something about me that makes these other women want to get with me. So now I'm pre-qualified for them. But as a guy, we don't see it the same way.
I want to point out something about sexual freedom and promiscuity, if you will. So having sexual freedom and the freedom to, let your body be explored, or to experience intimacy on all levels, or sensuality, like instead of hiding or restricting yourself from that, is one thing. And then just out here having sex with multiple different people, like every day or multiple times a week, like that's on another level. Because I can say that I have had sexual freedom, being that I was single. I had the freedom to do what I wanted to do, when I wanted to do it, who I wanted to do it with. But that doesn't mean I was overdoing it.
Right.
Like, you just know that I have the freedom to do this, but I'm also not comfortable, because I'm not comfortable, seeing this person and having sex with them, and then going out with somebody else a couple days later, having sex with them. I'm not comfortable doing that.
Because you're a woman.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not.
So let me ask you this. We'll look at rappers, basketball players. We'll use those, because I use those as a standard for that. But women know these, let's say a Chris Brown. Women know, okay, Chris Brown smashing all the chicks. That makes women want Chris Brown more, because he's Chris Brown. He get all the women flocking to him. I want to be a part of that, women flocking to him. Now, let's use Sanaa Lathan or Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna out here banging out of both pants legs. Ain't no dudes following her around like that same way. So if you see the guy in the club and it's him and his two homeboys, and they got a section and they got bottles, it's 9,000 women trying to get to that section, knowing that none of them guys ain't finna take them serious, none of that. Now you see that same section, you see 3 women with bottles and all that. I can guarantee you it's another 9,000 women over there. Ain't no men flocking to that section because she in there with the bottles and the, so that kind of stuff does not entice us. So I say that to say sexual freedom, double standards exist in the world, and sexual freedom on both sides exists. But for a guy being sexually freedom, being able to, because again, it's easy for you to get sex. You can walk outside your door and get sex. For a guy to get to a Chris Brown level of being able to have sex, he had to work to get to that level. You didn't. A woman has to do nothing. You were born with that vagina. It's all you gotta do is maintain it. Chris Brown had to get to become Chris Brown to where women wanted to sleep with him like that. Women that look good don't have to do any work and they can get sex. So when a guy can do it, he's earned that right to do it. And I know it sucks to hear, but he's put in the work to be able to have these women after him like that. As a woman doing it, it doesn't work the same way.
I'm trying to see if there was anybody that I knew that was having a whole lot of sex at one point, and it made me be like, "Ooh, I want to have sex with him too."
But okay, so you see a basketball player or something. It may not be in your mind. You thinking, "Oh, he fucked 20 chicks last night. I wanna," but you, damn, he got that money. He got, so the stuff that he earned that got him to the level of that. Sex also comes with it. And you as a woman, you're not saying that, but you consciously know that.
I get what you're saying. So I'm looking at him and I'm looking to be with him because of what he has.
Yes.
Okay. I'm thinking you were talking about
just
because he had
but because you see he had, because we, as everybody knows, as a guy moves up, we know his sexual access grows as he grows.
Right.
Options. A guy can start off only being able to get a 1. And in 20 years, he's able to get 10s. But he started off only able to get 1s, but he had to earn to get to those 10. A woman that looks good, she can start off at 10s and never go under 10s until she don't look as good no more. And did no work to get there. I always use a yacht. If you go to Miami and you see a yacht, you're going to see a yacht with men on it and 1,000 women. You're going to see some 19-year-old women that probably just graduated high school, have nothing going on for themselves other than looking good. And they on that yacht. You don't see no bunch of men because as a man, I got to earn to get on that yacht. It's something about I had to buy or network or something to be able to get on that yacht. You don't have to. So that's where the double standard for sexual freedom comes, because sex, for women to get sex is easy. For men to get sex is not as easy. It's a bunch of cats out here that didn't start having sex when they 30 years old.
I'll give you a funny analogy.
Okay, go ahead.
You ever play chess?
Mm-mm.
The queen can jump all over the board.
Works perfect.
Hey.
Anytime. She can go anywhere she wants on the board, but the king,
One step at a time.
At a time. And it doesn't matter what happens to the queen at the end. If the king fall, game over.
But that queen can move all over the board from first step. She ain't got to work to it. She ain't got to wait for it.
She got
as soon as the game started, if she want to move to the other end of the board, she can. That king gonna go one step at a time. So that's why I say it's that double standard. It sucks to hear. As we do this podcast, I'm gonna say a lot of stuff that sucks to hear, but it's true. And that double standard when it comes to sexual freedom exists. As man, a guy that has a lot of options is up here. A woman that exercises a lot of options is down here.
Well, as they say, women control sex, men control marriage.
Yep.
So that's what it is.
Are
But
you exercising your sexual freedom?
so that's what I want to talk about. When you guys say sexual freedom, I hear it in terms of how often or access to multiple people. But when I think about it, I think kind of closer to what you had said earlier about what are you open to sexually? You know what I mean? Like, because you know, like there's some people that are really, really rigid, and it's like, well, it's just intercourse. That's all I'm gonna do, right? And then there's other people that'll be a little bit more open, like, okay, well, I'll do oral sex, you know, or whatever. And so when I think about sexual freedom, that's what I'm
like the
thinking,
face you made.
right?
Did I make a face?
You did. It was unnatural. It was like,
Oh, maybe I was trying to adjust myself.
oh.
But yeah, so that's what I think about when I think about sexual freedom. So
What you're willing to do.
yeah.
Okay.
So I guess my question is, what would be the opposite of not being sexually free? Like, I guess if we're gonna have that conversation. Okay, so that's a person that's very reserved. Okay, so at what point does a person, I guess, shift from just being someone who is just a regular, just interested, to being a hoe or being extra, promiscuous?
How do they get there?
Yeah, see,
Yes,
we got to
because we
define
sit here,
what is promiscuity.
Right.
What is, y'all know what I'm trying to say.
because like, okay, for instance, is if you just have one day where you just run the gun, but most of your life you just one person every so often, does that make you a hoe?
There you go.
Is there a hard number on hope?
Or is it a lifestyle? You out there, whatever. Hey, you ready for? Hey, let's go.
I think that I think the lifestyle. I don't think one person every so often makes you a hoe. Like, I don't think that.
But to be honest, if we're honest as men, that's even a guy that's getting it often. That's usually what he's experiencing. You women, and I say, but people sensationalize. So if you know a guy and you like that guy, and for 6 months he probably had sex with 4 women, but you liked him and you were a part of that 4. When you go out and talk about that guy, you're gonna talk like he fucked 9,000 chicks. He only fucked 4. But you're not gonna say it like that, like, oh yeah, he really kind of only had sex with 4 people. You're gonna make it seem like, oh, you trying to fuck everybody. But a man may try to fuck 1,000 chicks in a year. He's only gonna, at best, get 120. And I'm talking about at best, the top tier men. Chris Brown be in inboxes that don't get read. I'm telling you. So even the top tier men, we will always understand it goes to Joey's attitude. Women fuck who they want, men fuck who they can.
Right.
We don't ever have the option that y'all feel like we have to be out here fucking different chicks every day. That don't work like that.
But I think what Joey was trying to get at though was like, how to determine when a woman is
And
a
we ain't
hoe
even gotta
versus
make it
she's
a
just
woman.
being free.
Yeah.
Because like he was saying, the woman could be having sex with one person here and there, and then just have this moment where she just freaks out for a minute. You know, she hitting smashing like
Well,
20 guys,
personally,
and then she's back to one again. Is she now a hoe?
I
Or
prefer
does she have a
I
whole
prefer
hoe?
a
Was she a hot
reformed
girl or
hoe.
something?
That is my preference of a reformed hoe. That I don't want somebody, because sex is important to me and sex is I have a high sex drive, sexual nature. I don't want somebody that has only
Ain't
done
never done
missionary
it.
3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have no interest in that. I want somebody that's done got out here, got some. Oh, I thought you were shaking.
No.
my head. But they got out here, got some, got their hands dirty. They know what they like. They know what they want. They know what pleases them. So now I can be better as a sexual partner to them. If you've only fucked John for 12 years, that's all you know. So now if I don't do what John did, you have no other level of comparison other than John. So I got to come in and duplicate John, or you're not satisfied, because that's all you know.
And to that point, I'm gonna circle back to what I was saying earlier about people having discussions about sex. Just like you, I'm telling you, it was almost like you were saying verbatim what I say. When I talk to women, I'd be like, okay, sex is important to me. I'm letting you know now. If that bothers you to have a discussion on it, we are not compatible.
Because if a discussion
it's like,
bothers
you can't
you,
even talk about it. Then.
and that's why I'm gonna tell you. And I have a lot of female friends,
Mhm.
and once you actually talk to them, women have a lot of bad first time sex. And the reason that is because they don't talk about it.
Right.
So
Mhm.
if I'm a guy and I like to put my thumb in your booty, that's something you don't like. Now we have sex for the first time. You ain't told me you don't like that, and I haven't told you that I do like that.
Right.
Now I do it. I do the whole mood off. Now you finna go tell your homegirl it was horrible, but because we didn't have that conversation, I use that as an extreme.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if I'm a kisser, you're not a kisser.
Mhm.
Now we finna get into it, and I didn't insert it, and then I try to kiss you. I threw the whole mood off. There's a lot of people that are out here having a lot of bad first sex because they don't want to have that conversation of, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, this is what I do, this is what I don't do, this is what I'm comfortable with, this is what I'm not comfortable
Well,
with.
they haven't had that conversation because they probably just met on this, you know, they they probably hadn't been around each other long enough to even have that conversation. They finna go in all willy-nilly, never had a chance to talk.
Wow.
But see,
Good
that's
question.
the
why
thing.
does that matter? Like, if we're modern, progressive in other ways,
See, you about to go where I'm going.
Like,
Like,
what
why does
can
there
we
have to be a
talk
time frame?
Yeah.
See, that's my other point.
All
Like,
right, so I went out last night. Okay, I went out last night. I'm in a relationship, but I'm just using this as an example. I had met somebody last night. Okay, I went to their house. We had sex. That okay, that situation is different, but that's what I'm saying. Sometimes, say for example, we go out to dinner and we go home and then do it. We ain't talked about the thumb.
But if we had dinner and I'm feeling that sex is a potential, I'm gonna have that conversation.
right. See,
At some point in time, I'm gonna let you know. Hey, you see the thumb right now?
But
That's probably gonna go butt tonight.
won't talk about it. My thing is also what is your objective? So if I'm going out with a woman and the point is I'm looking to be in a relationship with her, then at that dinner, somewhere we're gonna talk. Now, if you're talking about, oh, this is just some situation, I meet some chick in the club and the move's right, and now we go smash, there might not be time to talk.
Yeah.
That's different.
And you expect that to be awkward sex because you don't even know that person,
Right.
let alone know what they like. Sex
okay,
you just met.
people that might be going somewhere in the situation
There's different
and still haven't and hadn't had the talk. So
Exactly.
now it's time to do it. And we're like,
But see that again, that time to do it again is the wrong thought. It shouldn't be, well, it's time to have
no,
sex.
I'm not saying like that. I'm just saying, okay, this is the particular night that we are in the mood and we do, but we haven't talked yet. So yeah, it feels
But
right.
I can guarantee you, we've talked about a bunch of other stuff that don't matter at all.
And then that's where another problem comes in at, because a lot of, like you said, women don't want to talk about it right off the bat. And so I'm okay with talking about it right off the bat, because I know that it'll eventually happen.
Yeah.
You know, and some women are like, oh, I don't feel comfortable talking about sex right now. You know, I don't want to talk about it.
Then you take what comes with that, which means you're probably gonna have a lot of bad first time sex.
But I always hear from women that say they don't want to talk about it right off the bat because they feel like it'll control and dominate the conversation from that point on. Like they think that that's all that'll get discussed and that's all it'll be about.
You need to be with somebody mature. You need to be having a conversation.
And that's what I tell them. It's like, you're talking to boys, then you're not talking to a man.
Because they might take the conversation and just keep it there.
Yeah, because I'm a ask those questions. If we're on a date and I don't feel like, and I'm really good at
feeling that vibe.
So if I don't feel like it's going there, then there's no reason to have the conversation.
Yep.
But if I feel like, okay, I'm feeling this person is feeling me, there is some form of affection, she's touched my hand, there's something. Mm-hmm. Now, if we sitting there for 2 hours, at some point in time, you're gonna find out about this thumb in your butt. But I'm gonna say it in a way, I'm not just gonna be, but I'm just saying, I'm gonna get it in the conversation at some point in time. Because I don't like first time awkward sex.
Hey man, keep that thumb over there.
Hey man, I'm just saying. I mean, I don't actually put it up, but again, I've used that extreme.
I see James outside.
See me going there right now?
Ew.
You know that is when you look at all pictures.
James, after a good night.
Yeah. Anyway. Things went good today. But I'm just saying, I feel like
good show.
If you don't want bad sex,
you have to communicate.
Yeah, it is nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean I'm gonna view you as a hoe, or I'd rather you tell me, hey, XYZ, I don't like this, or XYZ, something happened and I got a scar on my inner thigh, or anything. Tell me this stuff, then we just gonna go into it blind, and then it's bad. And now we leave the situation disappointed in each other and going out, because what happens is we don't seem to keep those situations internally. We go out and the next person we meet, they're going to get that story, or you're going to go give it to your homegirl or your homeboy. And you're not going to say, hey, guy stuck his finger in my butt. I didn't know that he liked to put fingers in butts, but I also didn't talk about it. You're going to make it, girl, he was in there trying to do this wild stuff, but you're not going to ever say, we didn't talk about sex at all. We just jumped into it and we're just gonna try to do it. So I was gonna try to fuck him like I'm used to fucking John, and he was gonna fuck me like he used to fucking Sally. That'll never work out, because John and Sally are different people, and everybody you have sex with is gonna be a different person.
All right, let's shift the conversation to judgment. Okay. Anybody that wants to be celibate or have sexual freedom or thought till they can't drop.
Low sex people are very judgy. Just saying.
People that don't have it are judging.
They and they feel like they're
See where you
entitled.
have experienced that. I don't care. Okay, I do whatever you want to do. Okay, I am not gonna judge you if you mess with 1,000 men, 1,000 women. Ooh, you know, I might be judgmental about. You know what? No. I'm not gonna say judgmental because I pride myself on not judging people. But like, if a guy had told me that he had slept with another dude before, because he could be sexually free, right? I would be like, you know what? That's probably not for me. Like, I don't know if I would
That
want.
goes back to my question earlier. At what point, like, is it just an experience versus that's what they are?
But
It's in a different state.
But I feel like that's a different thing.
let me let me jump in on this one.
It might be a preference, but I don't want to judge. Like,
But here's the thing. I gotta, because I always have this discussion. It's so funny that we have. So if we're at a dinner table, and we're at a dinner table with a group of women and a group of men, and everybody's having that conversation, and sex comes up, and a chick at the table says, "Oh yeah, I've been with other women, right?" And other people will look at it like, "Oh, okay, you know." Some dudes will be like, "Oh, try to talk to her, right?" But when you see her around again, no one's gonna judge her, right? It's gonna be right. We're gonna be, oh, she cool. Now let a dude at that table say, "Hey, I was with a dude once."
Everybody at the table judge them. The men and the women.
Yeah.
The men and the
Silence.
Done.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
Because I ain't gonna lie.
It's a different thing.
But I know I'm gonna feel some type of way.
Yep.
Like I don't want to say that I would feel some type of way because I feel like I'm being judgy. But like,
I don't feel like when it comes to dealing with someone that you're gonna have to deal with personally, I don't feel like it's judgy to have a preference. To just say, okay, that's too far from me. That's not judgy.
no, I
Right.
feel like
Judgy is somebody that you have no intention of dealing with, and you just out there. Yeah.
Inherently, do what you do. It's your life.
Yeah.
So be judgy. Who cares? Only person that has to be happy is you.
I mean, I've lost actual friends for being sexually free, and female friends don't want to be my friend no more because I smashed one of their friends, and it didn't work out. But they hooked me up with the friend, and they knew who I was.
Yeah, that's what
But now you gonna stop being my friend because I'm an alligator, and you threw some meat out there, and I ate the meat.
No.
Now you mad at the alligator for doing what alligators do. And you knew that's what alligators do because you've had this alligator his whole life. I've been friends with somebody since I was 12 years old. And they hooked me up with their homegirl. I told them, like, I ain't really, you know. But then we ended up, after a club, smashing. Homegirl went to her like, oh, I really like him, which was weird because I'm like, ma'am, I met you, we were drinking. How can you like me? I literally, like, the conversation was bare minimum. Hey, my name James. You want a drink? You want another drink? You want another drink? Okay, you coming home with me? How do you like a guy from that? If you like a guy from that conversation, you probably need to go and evaluate yourself.
She probably thought you were generous.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was because I was trying to get up on it, so I was willing to buy a drink.
You were generously
Yes. Any other scenario, I wouldn't have been just spending money like that. But hey, we out. Your homegirl and already put me on you and told you, hey, she's attracted to you. Okay, cool. Now I really feel no. We out. Whole group setting. She come and stand by me. Hey, you want a drink? Okay, you got that first drink. I see she got a little touchy feeling. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I see what it's going.
Oh Lord Jesus.
Okay, let me get you about 2-3 more of them. But nowhere in that conversation did we say we were gonna go past this night. We never discussed any of that. But now you go back to your friend with your feelings hurt, which is weird to me because I don't see how your feelings got hurt over that. But now my friend from 12 years old doesn't want to be my friend anymore because you hurt my other friend's feelings because she doesn't know how to evaluate a situation.
Yeah.
Friend should have had that talk with your other friend.
Personally, I just felt like that wasn't, that was the extent of our friendship. If our friendship broke because of something like that, because me and Lucy been friends, and I met Lucy being a hoe.
Him, not me.
No, not her. No, not her. Me.
Okay,
What I'm saying, I met her. When I met her, she knew, okay, that nigga begins coochie. But that never changed how she felt or dealt with me. And I've had people, so that's why I say people that aren't very sexually free, they become judgy and it's accepted. Like, and they feel entitled to be able to
And you know why
judge people.
I stay friends with you? Because I don't be judging. I don't care what you do.
That's right.
Because what you do is your business.
Period.
My motto is always this: if it doesn't affect my paycheck,
Exactly. As long as you ain't
my health, and my immediate family, I don't care. And if my immediate family is wrong, I will check them. But at the end of the day, do you?
And I'm fine as my friend of you approaching me with, hey, friend, you might be. But if I choose to, because again, if I feel like my friend is doing XYZ and this is a true friend, I'm going to tell you. But I'm not telling you as a parent that now you got to go do what I say. You're a grown person. You're going to do what you want to do. But I feel less than a friend to not tell you. I'm going to still be your friend regardless. But I won't feel good with myself if I don't tell you, just for me. You don't have to do it. I'm not going to treat you any different because I said, hey, you know that dude you giving head to in the parking lot, you probably need to stop doing that. And you be like, all right, but you do it the next night. I'm not going to stop being your friend because I did my part.
If you
That's right.
lady that you know you like, you feeling or whatever, and she exposed to you how she is sexually free and how she has slept with this number of people, you know, like you're more willing to engage her and maybe see where it goes.
Wait. Okay, you got
It depends on the situation. Are you being promiscuous with me because you genuinely like me, or are you just being promiscuous because hey, you just want some dick?
No, this is just how she's
fine.
lived. She's been sexually free. She's had sex, you know, experienced life and sex, you know, and so she comes to you and explains like, you know, y'all feeling each other, but she explains like, oh yeah, like I've done that, yeah, like I had a threesome or a foursome.
I prefer that, and for me, I'll say I prefer that because I've always been the more in all my relationships. I've been the person that introduced any new sexual anything or been so I want to be with someone that is not me always bringing. If you've experienced some shit that I haven't experienced, tell yeah. I told you feel I like a reformed hoe.
It depends. I need to know if that pussy's been in the Royal Rumble. I'm just gonna be honest.
okay.
STD.
Because okay.
That if you really trying to get with me, are you can you actually bond with me? Because you lose a lot of that ability to pair with a person the more bodies you collect. Well, so if you really trying to be interested in me, I need to know those things because I need to know what I'm actually dealing with.
If you ever get a chance, go look up statistics that there are way more STDs in a relationship than there are for single promiscuous people. Just thought everybody should know that.
I got a fun. The number one determiner of a divorce is contempt of spouse. If you have contempt for your spouse, that will destroy your marriage almost 100% of the time.
Yeah, there's a whole article on that.
Wait. Let me ask. Session. So you meet a guy, and the guy is like, "Hey, I've been out here," and he give you 50% of what he's done. But then he from the same area he's from. So you know the other 50% of what he's done. Is his sexual freedom gonna make you not date him seriously? Are you gonna then judge like, oh, he had sex with 100 women, I'm good. That's my number. That's my cutoff limit.
Well, why lie to me?
Because wait. And again, this goes with one of those double standards. The reason men lie to y'all is because women don't take the truth well. You say you do, but women do not take the truth well. My daughter does not take the truth well. My mama does not take the truth well. So if a guy is trying to get with you, I don't even consider it, and it is a lie, but if he tells you, and he's a guy that's really interested and he likes you, and he tells you, I had sex with 100 women, you're going to disqualify me instantly. But if he tell you, I only had sex with 20, and you don't find out about the other 80, then he's still just a great guy, and y'all get together and get married. Do that 80 really matter that you never knew about?
Yeah.
You never knew about it. You still don't know about it.
Why he can't tell though? If she find out.
But if he told her, so y'all 10 years y'all married.
That's your
I just said that was like the same night session.
I'm saying y'all 10 years into y'all married and you decide.
But here's the thing. Because whether it was you slept with 2 women and you told me about one and I find out that it was 2, I'm the type of person is you removed the opportunity for me to make my own decision. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. I'd rather you tell me the whole truth and let me make my decision. That's like you saying me and you in a relationship and you saying, I didn't sleep with her, Kendra. I kissed her. Then I find out that you actually slept with her. I'm going to be more pissed about the fact that you removed the opportunity for me to make my decision.
Are you
Because
really
had you told me,
so if you find
I
out
am.
as opposed to later, either way, you're gonna stop fucking with the guy.
But you never know that, because had you come to me at the beginning and said, Kendra, yes, I did sleep with her, I may have said, you know what? It's between me and you. Let's me and you sit down and talk this
These are
out.
the
and work
lies
this
that y'all
out.
been telling us forever.
No,
You know
no,
better than that.
because a pet, no, because
We know
Kendra,
better than that.
no, listen.
In a different way here.
No, because Kendra 10, 15 years ago, oh yeah, I may have been like, bye, F you, I'm done. But I'm older and I'm more mature now. Okay, so my thing is, don't take the opportunity for me to make that decision for myself away from me. That's what pisses me off.
I hear you on that, but here's the thing: women like you don't wear something on your forehead saying, "I'm okay with the truth." So most men, we don't know, you know. So most men, if they're trying to smash, they are not going to tell you the truth because they want to smash. They don't want to give you the option or the opportunity to say no. So they're going to tell you a lie because they're trying to get.
Because we work in probability, y'all work in possibility. There's a possibility that if I tell you the truth, you're gonna still accept it. Small possibility. Anything's possible. Kevin Garnett said you can win the lottery tomorrow, but the probability, if I tell you the truth, gonna go way down.
And exactly, if I'm trying to smash, I need my probability to be up here.
Yes. This is why you don't. Why as women, y'all won't understand it because it's a hunter mentality. As a fisherman, I gotta know facts about a fish to catch the fish. That fish don't know I exist until they bite my hook.
Well, y'all need to know.
And
I like the truth.
I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of guys out here that don't have that game or capability to actually talk to a woman to get her anyway. Like, there's a lot of dudes that have access to some women that they mess it up themselves and they talk themselves out of the woman. So that's another dynamic or aspect of that. Like, some dudes may sit there and feel like, hey, if I tell her this, I may not be skilled enough to actually get her back. I'd have sat there and I'd have did this work. If I tell her or I don't disclose the truth of the numbers, you know, it'll make me look better and I still could get what I can get, especially if they ain't able to get it as often.
Mm-hmm.
They have a reason to want to withhold the truth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this and we're gonna wrap this up. Because I know we over the time. I do like the truth as well session. And I'm in a long distance relationship. We're making it work. We're making it work. I don't like to ask my guy a lot of questions.
Right.
I don't really dig. But there are times I do ask some things. And I always tell him, you can tell me if you ever want to do something else, if you've done, you can tell me. Now, I'm probably leaving, but go ahead and let me know. Yeah. I need to know because, again, like you said, I need the chance to make a decision if I want to stay or if I want to go. Now, he might be doing a whole lot of stuff, might not say nothing to me. I probably don't know, you know. But if he do, I do want to know. I want to know, but I know a lot of men.
Let me ask you a question, and this is for you and Kira, both of y'all women. Say y'all work at a job. It's a really good job. They pay you really well, but you hate this job. And your boss brings you into the office once a month to ask you how you feel about that job. Is you finna sit in front of that man that you want to keep this job and tell him, hey, I hate this fucking job? You're gonna lie because you want to keep it. Be real.
So you saying he gonna lie to me because he want to keep me?
Exactly.
Or yeah.
Oh
basically,
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like I can.
You're putting as women, y'all don't understand when y'all tell us that you're forcing us into a situation that you wouldn't deal. Because if you're at your job, you can hate that job, but if your boss asks you, because that person dictates whether you're going to keep the job. Now, you may talk to your coworkers and tell them how much you hate, and tell your mama and your sister and your brother and everybody else, but you're not going to tell the person that dictates whether you keep this job that you hate it. So as a guy,
I wish that he would.
yeah, and it sucks because again, it's a
Sucks
one of
for
those.
you.
I mean, but it sucks for both people because again, he wants to keep you. Might have been just a mistake, but if he tells you that, it's a wrap, and you know it.
Baby, I'm wrapped like a gift, honey.
With a bow on it.
And put a little bow on it. But I want to know so I can go on and
Leaving.
yeah. I could be somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? I could be somewhere else, not getting cheated on.
Well, I mean, that's true, but I get, again.
And I could be getting cheated on in that too.
You don't know. You'll never know.
You never know.
Right. But I mean, again, back to what he was saying, it's really about what the objective of the man is. If all he wants to do is smash, or he sees you as like, ooh, she's a step up from what I'm used to getting, he's gonna lie because he want to get it. He's gonna lie because he want to get it. Now, a man that's more experienced, have had it for a while, is not desperate, don't mind telling the truth because he don't care what the results are. It's like, okay, I'll tell the truth, and she wants to walk away. I'm good with it. I don't care. I'll talk to another woman.
Get it.
So, what's that mentality of plenty? So some men, they know there's plenty of women out there, and they're like, I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate. There'll be some women that'll jump on board, and the one that don't want to jump on board.
I mean, I look at it like even from a parent standpoint. You have that one child that is your favorite child, but when them children ask you, you're gonna always lie and say, "No, absolutely, I love you all the time." You know you lying.
And on that
note,
note,
Johnny is your favorite child. You really can't stand no other bastard.
And on that note, thank you guys for watching Overly Opinionated episode 2. This was celibacy versus sexual freedom. I think it was a very good combo. Thank you to these guys for traveling, coming down, and thank you, Session. You couldn't be here with us today, but
You still had all black.
Yeah.
we did.
Oh yeah, everybody acknowledged the fact that we all have, or we color coordinated, and this was not planned. And I had to go change shirts because I ain't having no black shirt.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Y'all.